Garcia's Tuna on Toast.
Is this really happening? Is this really happening?
Yes, sir. It is.
Fuck. Yeah.
First thing on a Monday morning too. Our week's off to a good start, man.
Yes. Wow.
We're stoked to be here with you. This is great.
Thank you very, very much. Looking out for number one. I pressed play on the new album, guys, Supercharged, and I was like, yep, that's the way that a band like Offspring should start an album. Dexter, looking out for number one. Where did you make this one in the process for the new record?
Right. That was just a phrase that I thought was funny, but I don't know. It seems like there's kind of a society thing a little bit right now. Don't you think that people are definitely looking out for themselves? And it was just kind of our little comment, I guess.
Noodles, based on that line, looking out for number one and what Dexter just said, I don't have studies on it, but I feel like there's not as many bands these days. There's as many musicians or people that sing, but not everybody wants to share the spotlight with other people, so they're just doing it themselves. Do you feel that, or am I talking insane right there?
I've definitely seen that trend lately. We did a bunch of festivals this year. We played with some. It'd be like one or two guys on stage, and that's cool. If that's the way they want to go. We love being a band. I think having a full band up on stage, there's nothing like that. You have a good drummer, a bass player that's shredding, a guitar player that's shredding, and then of course you got to have a good front man like Dexter here. You know
what? The first time I ever played with Noodles, it was he had a group of guys that were playing together, and we went to his house and we set up in his living room, and I had bought an amp. I'm like a teenager, right? But I had played in my bedroom on my bed, but I had never played with a full band all at the same time before. So we plugged in, we started the first song, and it was like the living room exploded. There was such a feeling to it, is what he's saying. And that's what I always go back to as far as having a full band. There's really something about it when you get four guys together.
For sure. Definitely.
When you were in the living room of Noodles, were they covers you were playing, or you brought in lyrics and said, guys, let's play music, or you brought all the music? How did that go down?
Noodles was in another band called Clowns of Death.
Yes.
And they had like 5 original songs, I think. And
maybe. Yeah.
I was sitting in as the second guitar player, so I learned their songs. I think the goal was maybe to play a backyard party. That was as far as the band was ever going to go. And they never achieved that goal.
I thought we ended up playing at Mike Mullinex's house once, and we did like Bad Moon Rising like 3 different times just because we kept running out of songs.
Maybe.
Dexter, the second song, and I'm not going to go through every single song on the new album, but I've spent time with it. The speed of Light It Up and the sound of it from like 4 seconds in on just grabbed me without, describing what the song is about or anything.
Yes.
What does this song mean to you, and where did it come from?
Wow, thank you. This is so much fun, by the way. This is so much better. I should have done this last night instead of going on Reddit,
Oh, yeah. Stay off Reddit, dude. That's never a good idea.
Ripped it apart, man. No, yeah, the second song is Light It Up, right? It's it's super fast. It's kind of like what people think of when they think of the punk side of the Offspring. And we wanted to let that out on this record and just kind of it's almost like we're talking about the song sometimes has to write itself. You have to let the song be what it wants to be instead of going, well, we did a song like this 20 years ago, so we're going to have to mix it up and turn it upside down. And we decided consciously to, nope, just let it be what it is.
I'm going to go to Noodles first, but Dexter, I please would like something from you as well. I've had, luckily, so many bands on this show. Some of them started in 1995, some in 1989. And some of them have said they make new albums because they don't care if one person hears it or a zillion people. They just need to do that for their creative itch. And others have said, we love our library so much, we're not dying to make new music. We just want to play the other songs. So why are you guys still making albums? Of course, it's awesome, Supercharged. Noodles?
Yeah, it really is. There's 2 sides to that coin. There's the live stuff where you go out and you're playing songs and right away when you're connecting with an audience, and there's no feeling in the world like that. It's just a huge high, immediate, in your face high like that. The flip side is going in the studio and trying to be creative and come up with new stuff. That's a lot more obsessive compulsive. You don't know, you're not getting that fan feedback right away. I mean, the record's been done for a couple of months now and the fans have only heard 2 or 3 songs now. So but for us, it is important to go in and just see if we can still go in and create stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we started this band because we want to make music for sure. So that is still a part of what we do. And I know that people don't really listen to records anymore or whatever they do. I don't know that people digest their content differently, I suppose, nowadays. But it is important for us to make new music. That's just part of who we are.
I know Dexter still wants to write his Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't know if you've got it yet. I want to write my Holiday in Cambodia. So I think both of those are worthy, just great songs.
2 awesome songs. I mean, don't you guys have a Holiday in Cambodia somewhere in your history? Just something quick, fast, catchy, and we can sing along. You've got like 50 of those.
I don't know if we've got it right. I mean, there's always trying to nail it. You can always get it a little bit closer, a little bit better.
So you've been in this a very long time. When your song, which is track 4, Make It All Right, gets on radio stations, not just in LA, but all over the country, and people really like it, and then it's #1 for 2 or 3 weeks in a row. Dexter, at this stage in the game, how does that make you feel?
I know, it's amazing. Amazing. I mean, it's what we want. It's what we wanted for sure. We want to have new songs and not just be remembered for something that we did a long time ago and be current, I guess. Right. But so, yeah, I heard it was #1, which is fantastic. But our first #1 was Come Out and Play in 1994. And I'm thinking, is that some kind of record or there's got to be some kind of stat on that? I don't know. It's a long gap between #1s.
What about for you, Noodles?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Every time you make music, you just hope it resonates with an audience. And the bigger the audience, the more fun, man.
And also when it comes to the Offspring, and of course, all of these are from my vantage point. I don't know what that is. I just like good songs, and I like going to shows, and I like singing along, and I like the energy. Like the Offspring to me is like one of those top 5 bands that if you only know their songs from like 3 of their songs and you go see them play, they instantly become like a top 5 favorite all-time band. Dexter, when do you think in your career you really felt like we got this on stage? We know what the hell we're doing.
Thank you very much. We hear a lot is that they go, I didn't realize I knew so many of your songs. So for whatever reason, we're kind of one of those bands that maybe we're still a little under the radar or something. I don't know exactly. It's not for lack of trying, but I think, definitely over the last several years, we had a couple lineup changes and we all kind of got together really during COVID because there was nothing else to do except rehearse. As much as I hate rehearsing, band practice isn't really a lot of fun, but we actually sat down and really got into the nitty gritty and dialed it all in. And I think we're sounding really super tight now. It's really fun.
For sure. And having, live performances taken away from us, getting in the studio and just jamming to like, you would have like a drum track and it would be, living in California was Dexter, me, Jonah, and Todd at the time. And so we'd just get in and jam, and it was a blast. It was so much fun.
Guys, who produced the new album, please?
Bob Rock.
Okay, so Bob Rock, of course, the legend who you've worked with many times before. Is there something in 2023, 2024 that he brings to you that this time around, it's something that he said that he hadn't said to you before, and it clicked and you utilize that when making these new songs?
Oh, gosh. There's something almost every day that he brings up that we hadn't heard of or thought of before. And it depends from song to song because, the songs are a little different. So if we're doing something hard and fast, maybe he'll bring a guitar sound. If it's something a little bit more melodic or slower, he'll push us to work on maybe a different bridge part or something. And we just discuss music, whether it's new music, new bands that we've heard, or older records that we rediscover and what makes those things great. We have those conversations throughout the day. It's really, Bob is just a mentor, a big brother, and really just a really solid friend of ours now.
What about for you, Dexter?
Yeah, a producer is a lot of things in the studio. They're your friend, they're your psychiatrist, they're your motivator, they're there to pump you up. They're also a little bit of a taskmaster, all that kind of stuff. And and it's hard to find a person that you can click with on all those levels. But I think really first and foremost, he's just another creative voice in the room saying, hey, what about trying this? Or how about this guitar? Or what if we had a different part here? And he doesn't give us the part. He suggests what it might be, and then we have to actually come up with it. But it really works for us, and it's really great because he helps us bring a song just up a notch.
Dexter, has the Offspring always been a band where everybody's in the same room, at least throughout most of the process of making the albums, or are you guys in separate places?
I mean, I do a lot of the demoing, getting the stuff off the ground, and then we kind of come in and kind of put it together, I guess.
Noodles, I'm going to rewind a little bit. The debut album for the Offspring is 89. Then we go Ignition. Then we go into Smash. Of course, you just celebrated 30 years of Smash. Was there ever a meeting of the minds like, this is the goal for the band? Or was it just like, hey, we guess what? We get to put out an album, then another one, and we're going to see how it goes. What was it like?
A little bit of both of that, but I think there was no goal except for just creating great music early on. And then when Smash came, all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is our career now, or it could be, fingers crossed. I didn't actually quit my job. I took a leave of absence for 3 years. And that's when we started to realize, okay, we've got to get on top of our game here. I started taking voice lessons and guitar lessons and really trying to up my game just as, as a performer. And I think we still do that. We still, realize that as good as we are, we could always get a little bit better. We could, add things, add different facets to what we do on stage now.
You took lessons?
Did. Yeah. I know, you would never know, right?
When you're right about back in the old day, we weren't planning for a future. It was just fun. And it was literally the most fun thing that we could think of to do on a Saturday night. Some people might like to, I don't know, go to a hockey game or something, or go to a bar or whatever. For us, playing in our friend's living room and jamming, or, even better if we could get a show or a backyard party or whatever. That was the most fun thing that we could think of to do. And that's why we were doing it.
Dexter, it's never felt to me like you feel pressure, but when Smash has all those songs on the radio and then you're on MTV and there's people that may normally would like a top 40 band that now are gravitating towards the Offspring as a result of these incredible songs, and then you go make Ixnay on the Hombre. Did you ever feel any pressure writing those songs?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. We knew that we couldn't create Smash Part 2, that we had to go in a little bit of a different direction just for the sake of us wanting to last for a while. And also knew that it would be seen as a sophomore slump no matter what, kind of, even though this was going to be our 4th record. And so we kind of knew that going in. But still, yeah, you're realizing that the eyes are really going to be on you this time, when we kind of just snuck in the back door on Smash.
Where were some of those early shows at before the world knew who you guys were? Like, were they shows in Orange County or the Sunset Strip? Dexter, I'll go to you.
A laundromat in Lubbock. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I think we played in my dorm once, USC, in the hall, all over the place, right? What do you think, Noodles?
Oh gosh, I mean, we would play out in the middle of the desert, out in Mojave or in Riverside. Somebody would set up a generator outside of Vegas. They had a bunch of shows out there just in the middle of the desert. Punk clubs never stayed open before the early 90s. Punk clubs were always shut down by the cops and the local business members asking the cops to shut it down.
So you really had to kind of sniff out the show, some guy, like Noodle said, with a generator out in the desert, or a party, or, go up to Berkley.
Yeah, Berkley, Gilman Street at Berkley is where we played quite a bit, and we had a following of fans. We would go up there and there would be 15, 20 people that would show up every time we were there, the same 15, 20 people. So we had like a fan base up in Berkeley of 15, 20 people before we did down here in Orange County.
I've read a lot of interviews or seen interviews with bands that say, like, we first started, we only drew 15 people until they broke, like, the next year. Like, well, we drew 15 people for 10 years.
On a good night. Yeah.
It's really a long ways until something happened for us.
What about, and I love seeing this, when somebody like Ed Sheeran or Yungblud was very early on Yungblud. He's one of my favorite artists out there. Comes up
Nice.
to you and says, "Hey, you've been an inspiration, or I like your songs." How does that make you feel as we sit here today, Noodles?
It's always very flattering. It's kind of hard to take it on. I mean, those guys are such, phenomenal musicians in their own. It's kind of hard to imagine that we inspired them at all. But it's great to hear. And then they come out and join us on stage, and you see it, and you feel it. Having Ed Sheeran join us at Bottle Rock this year was incredible. And then Yungblud more recently, when we were in Europe at a festival in Switzerland. Dude, that guy's energy is just boundless. It's really hard to keep up. But both just phenomenal musicians and performers, and just honored to share a stage with both those guys.
Like Noodle said, it's very flattering. It kind of feels weird to accept it, I guess, in a way. But also, like Noodle said, when those guys joined us on stage, separate times, separate concerts, like you could feel it. You could feel the energy. Like they were into it. It was something that you could tell was kind of to me, it felt like it was a moment for them, kind of, which was really.
Well, let's dig into that a little bit. Let's just look at Ed Sheeran, because we hit him up to join us on stage, knowing we played the same day, and he jumped at the chance. We were like, really? Whoa! He sent us a tape. I saw the email, a little recording of him singing "To Million Miles Away," our song, and nailing it. It just sounds so good, I'm gonna cherish that recording forever. And then we got backstage and ran through the song with him. And talk about that a little bit, Dex.
It was great, meeting him for the first time, and then we get in the trailer, and like we're just gonna strum it, with no amps or whatever once. And he did great, sounded great. And then we hear rumors that there's an Offspring tattoo. Is this true? And he pulls up his shirt right here, and he's got a big old flaming skull there, and we just all went, yeah.
I got to touch it. I touched the tattoo. I wanted to make sure it didn't wipe off.
He touched it for a little too long, actually.
A little too long. Yeah, sorry, Ed.
In 2008, I know you guys know this, but Rise and Fall, Rage and Grace came out, and there's a song on there called "You're Gonna Go Far, Kid." There's a million Offspring songs, and I've rocked them all. No, and I love all of them. That song, of all of those out there that you've made, that's like in the billion streamed club. What do you think it is, Noodles, about "You're Gonna Go Far, Kid," that is taken of all the songs that one to that level?
Oh, it's just a great song. That it's just as simple as that. It gets people wanting to move. We play that every night. It's towards the end of the set, and the crowd just goes off for it. I remember my son was 4 or 5 when we demoed that, and he gravitated towards it immediately. Well, especially the dance part. My son loved that, of course. Yeah, I think it's just the song works on so many levels. It's so great. It's just got a great energy and makes people want to move and sing along to it.
Dexter, when you were putting that one together back in 2007-ish, do you know in your own head, based on your history up to that point, this one's good, man, this one's going to be awesome?
You kind of get a sense. Yeah, I think so. I remember trying to put it together. I was still stuck on a part in the middle. It was dragging or blah, blah, blah. But I remember our manager liked it so much that he freaking played it for, can I say this? He played it for Weatherly.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Weatherby.
And I didn't have lyrics. So it was just mumble lyrics. And I was shocked that our manager would play it in such an unfinished state. But Weatherly was like, yep, I'll put that on as soon as it's done. Just let me know. And it was like, wow, okay. So that was kind of like this outside input that it must be good if they're liking it at this unfinished stage, I guess.
It's a singable song without knowing the lyrics, and when you know the lyrics, it takes it up 15 notches.
Yeah. That's when Bob heard me sing "Dance Fucker Dance." He goes, okay, that's when I knew for sure that one's gonna be something. When we play it live every night, the place just starts bouncing. The house, it's really great. There's such a cool energy that we get from the audience from that song. It's really fun. And as you said, it just hit 1 billion streams on Spotify, so it's in the billions club. Us and Drake, guys like that. So it's shocking to us that it's been heard so much. It's so hard for people to break through now, because there's just so many bands and so many songs and stuff. So on the one hand, it's tougher to reach people. But when I hear about a song like ours, this one hitting 1 billion streams, it makes you realize like, wow, actually, you can really reach a lot of people with your music with the technology now.
With the technology now, especially
Yeah.
if you combine, I mean, shows and movies, TV shows and movies have always done a pretty good job of putting at times songs in there and bands that we may not know. But then you go like Kate Bush running up that hill. Of course, we all know that song, but they put it in
Right.
Stranger Things. It refreshes our memory. And now we can go to our phone and listen to it 75 times a day. And as a result of all that, she bought 7 new houses, which is cool.
Good for her.
Yeah, movies, TV, but really even like, you know, social media now. If you get your music behind the right video clip, and that can go viral, and then people are, you know, mimicking that viral video clip, and your song's being used again another 1,000,006 times.
Right.
I was stoked though. I was rooting for it because it was kind of like, oh yeah, I'm glad people are taking a look at this song again because it was such a great song and it was well known back in the whatever it was 80s, I guess, but it was so great to get appreciated all over again.
100%. Dexter, I would like to ask you please about the song Bad Habit, because working on the radio, that's in my top 5 favorite songs of all time to talk over the intro without ruining the music. This Stryker, all right. This band Offspring, they're going to be playing in Orange County in 2 days. I'm going to give away tickets in 10 minutes from now. This is Bad Habit.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we wrote it that way. So it'd be
Stryker needs something to talk over. We got the song for him.
It's
well,
the best talk over. Go ahead.
People were starting to talk a lot about what they call freeway violence or road rage or whatever. It was kind of a thing people were talking about at the time. And unfortunately, it's just gotten worse now, but recorded more. But I had like the shittiest car you could ever have. And I commuted from Orange County, where I live, up to USC every day. And my car could barely make freeway speed. So I was the victim of road rage many times. Like I had people like throw a giant Coke on my car, like a whole big gulp from 7-Eleven would land on my hood and they would flip me off. Like at least once a week, I was getting flipped off because people thought I was just holding up traffic or being a jerk driver. I just had an underpowered car. So anyway, so thinking of these two things together, it just made me kind of write a song as, you know, take on the different side of it and go, I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to fuck with you in the car. But yes, it was sort of drawn from personal experience a little bit, unfortunately.
Is that the #1 sing-along song that the Offspring has, at least for that one portion of the song? I feel like it is.
It goes over great every night. We pause right before we go into that. We, you know, talk the audience up and get them ready. And oh yeah, it goes off, especially the younger members of the audience, you know, people who bring their kids. I don't know if they knew what they were in for, but the kids love it.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote it's kind of like an a cappella part just to kind of break up a song. At the time we were talking about how do you make punk rock more listenable, and the idea was to sort of break things up a little bit. And so that was kind of the idea for that part, and then realizing that all kids love to cuss. So I want to put a bunch of cuss words in there, and there it was born.
Guys, this next subject, I care about 7.5 out of 10. You may be a 0 out of 10, but I'm asking anyway. I love when musicians and bands that have had such a good influence on me get recognized. Specifically, I'm talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And it drives me nuts. Some of the bands I love haven't even been recognized or on the ballot. The Offspring is one of those that are on my list. Dexter, do you care about this? Has it crossed your mind?
Well, thank you for saying that. We've never won any awards.
Never. That's absolutely true.
We haven't gotten a Grammy. We've never been on the cover of Rolling Stone, any of that stuff. So I don't know if that's in the cards for us, but I mean, sure, it'd be nice to be recognized. Maybe you can start the movement.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's also so many great bands have been snubbed. It's almost kind of more elite to be in that club. It can be argued. I think it would be a great honor to be in it, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Listen, I just want you guys on the ballot and to let it be known. Yes, have you sold 50 million records? Yes, but you think about the longevity and the artists that you have influenced combined with the live shows, and you fit exactly what the Hall of Fame should be. And I don't want them recognize you when you're 91 years old or all of us are gone, because that's not going to make me happy. I want to be a young man, and I want to be there when something like that happens, for God's sakes.
I'll go up there with a walker. I don't care.
Supercharged, October 11th. Last thing about the new album, the Brazil song. Anytime a good band posts, someone writes, "Come to Brazil." Come to Brazil. What's the inspiration behind is that the name of it, Dexter?
Come to Brazil. That's exactly the thing. You see all these comments all the time, not just for our band, but for any band. Come to Brazil, come to Brazil. It doesn't even follow what we're talking about. We could say happy birthday noodles, and they just write come to Brazil, So we thought, we should write a song for Brazil called Come to Brazil to, get the joke. And also to kind of acknowledge that our fans in Brazil are really great, actually. And we have shows there. So our love letter to Brazil.
Guys, I can't thank you enough. We're on the Zoom. I'm going to wrap it right here. I love the new album. It's about to be out depending on when you're watching this, or it's already out if you're listening or watching. The Offspring have created the best memories in my musical life. And I really appreciate everything, guys. And thanks for being so nice to me over so many years.
Stryker, you're the best. Thank you so much, man.
Hope you enjoyed. Now hit that subscribe button. And for more Tuna on Toast, listen wherever you get your podcasts.